Your baby has broken ribs and bleeding on the brain, and he's gonna die. I think you got the wrong baby. There's no broken ribs. This is some mix-up, some type of oopsie-daisy. And he's saying, no, this is your baby. And we have the x-rays here and this, that, other. We need to know what happened.
A majority of cases now being attributed to shaken baby syndrome are in fact delayed vaccine reactions.
I know my husband, I know Alan, I know that he could not nor would not do anything to harm our child.
What Americans need to realize is that vaccines are not risk-free. They carry a risk of injury or death.
The public are being lied to, I can say that categorically.
As a lawyer who's practiced criminal law for over 35 years, I've come to the conclusion that Alan Yurko is an innocent man.
My message to parents is to educate before you vaccinate.
We do not know what future generations are going to suffer because we have not been smart enough or brave enough to question mass vaccination.
Recently, we had a major press conference. All of the media were invited. None showed up. Why is the media so resistant to the story that there are people alive and well who had full-blown AIDS and used natural therapies in the recovery process?
You know, that's almost incomprehensible to me. I cannot imagine why that wouldn't be the biggest news story of the decade.
I certainly do believe that the media has a responsibility also. And that responsibility is to report fairly on all of the latest breakthroughs and whatever it may be.
So what has happened is government propaganda has been translated into editorial style, so that there is absolutely no way for a reporter working within that system to question the propaganda.
There's a whole empire has been built on AIDS. I mean, there's people that need this now. For corporations, pharmaceutical companies, they have a lot of money invested in our plight, in my plight. I'm angry about that. They don't want that to change.
As Viktor Frankl said, that he saw that in concentration camps, as soon as a person became apathetic, they were dead. The survivors of concentration camps never yielded to apathy. And that's the situation we're in now.
Well, I'm a person living with HIV, living with AIDS, and probably for almost 10 years. And during the great majority of that time, I have used supplements and alternative treatments to help stabilize my position. This is verifiable by my blood results.
I really don't put a lot of energy into worrying. I live my life. I have a good time. I'm active in a lot of organizations. I'm on the board of directors of God's Love We Deliver. I do a lot of service work, a lot of volunteer work.
Yeah, life is an extraordinary gift. This is a part of a journey for me. And I feel like I'm walking on water. We all are. My doctor said to me, whatever you're doing, he said, keep doing it. So that was a shock to me because I thought he was in charge. Well, I'm in charge.
If the HIV test is so accurate, why is it that 1/4 of the population of southern Japan has tested positive for the HIV virus, but only 14 have gone on to develop AIDS?
We're going to make a lot of money off this. Everybody in the world is going to have to take this test to find out who's going to die of the plague.
But there was never really, to my mind, I've looked at this very closely now, evidence of a new virus actually being isolated.
Do I still even believe that HIV exists? And I'm beginning to think no.
The war on AIDS has been science by publicity.
They have never come up with a plausible explanation for how HIV kills T cells.
The dogma that HIV is a cruel, relentless killer is palpably wrong.
ACT and so-called antiviral therapies cause the very disease they're supposed to prevent.
The AZT has been discredited by some of the leading experts in the field.
I feel that the major scientific journals of the world have failed to allow the critics of the HIV hypothesis a proper forum.
I'm quite confident that quite soon people will realize that there's a vast body of knowledge about AIDS and HIV.
14 years ago, Dr. Peter Duesberg was the lone voice in the world of AIDS dissonance. At that time, the molecular biologist, world-renowned virologist, and UCLA professor began asking a question that seemed like heresy in his day. Was it possible that we were wrong when we equated HIV with AIDS?
It's not just Peter Duesberg or some heretics or some outsiders who criticize the failure of our war against AIDS. It's the orthodoxy itself. They advertise they have not saved one single life with $60 to $80 billion. That means in conventional scientific logic, there could very well be something profoundly wrong with the basic hypothesis, with the basic approach that we use against AIDS.
The best evidence against the HIV hypothesis is that there is no evidence for it. In the vast scientific medical literature, over 100,000 journals published so far on HIV/AIDS, we cannot find anywhere in this vast literature the evidence that HIV causes AIDS, that AIDS is a contagious disease, or that it's even sexually transmitted.
And picking up the torch as the campaign chairman of the American Foundation for AIDS Research.
Use red, nobody's dead.
We'll have red products, we'll have red phones.
Members of the public often notice the celebrities who have suddenly and inexplicably become experts on public health. We have turned these kinds of stars into authorities on things way beyond their own training and their own knowledge.
Science, with its harsh efforts at total objectivity, can actually hold within its ways of operating the seeds of its own failure.
At least they should open up the field to people with other theories, because their own has proven to be such a resounding failure.
In science, we cannot have any prejudice. The fact that AIDS started in the gay community has nothing to do with the sexual preferences that this group of people have.
The old paradigm in science is first you find the cause and then you treat the cause. Well, with AIDS, we have violated both.
Not a single retrovirus has been ever demonstrated to be responsible for any single human disease, and certainly not killing anybody.
To think that the collapse of the human immune system, which is a very sophisticated system that's built up over millions of years, just started happening in 1980? I'm sorry, this is science fiction.